All right, everyone. Welcome back to Rough Draft Research. If you've been listening these past couple weeks, you know that I've had a child and I've been gone a little bit. The guys had a lot of fun without me, but after listening, I decided we would finish full circle and go with the last configuration that hadn't existed, with just me and Christian doing an episode. Kind of a weird way to start our third season. Welcome to RDR Season 3. The way we ended season 2 was spectacular. I don't know if you caught it or not, but the Kansas City Chiefs fucking destroyed the Eagles. Now, destroyed is a relative term. They won the Super Bowl, so that was a devastating victory for them. So yeah, man, it's just me and Christian this week. AJ is under the weather, but he's still in the air tonight. If you're a Phil Collins fan, but yeah. I don't know. I thought I'd let you jump in on the topic of discussion this evening. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm down. First of all, congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs. Crazy. That's second in 2 years, or second in 4 years. That's big time.
That's pretty good.
Really, really fun game. Also, but yeah, I'm excited to do the Just Me and You episode. It's like the hypotenuse of the RDR triangle. We're finally finishing it off.
That's right.
I'm excited about it. So for this episode, this special episode, we are going to be getting into the franchise tag and a little bit of the transition tag. We're right around the corner, coming up on Tuesday. But excuse me, before we get into this, I did want to talk about, it is season 3. Can't believe it. 3 years of RDR. And we're going to be switching up the format a little bit on you guys. I think we're going to kind of streamline this a bit, and we're going to be putting out 2 episodes a week now, Thursdays and Sundays, and they're going to be a little bit shorter. I mean, we're not going to cap the classic Dan and Christian flow, but we're going to try and cap it to a shorter period of time, give you guys more content, but easier to digest. So let us know how you like that, please. Coming up this Thursday will be this episode, so you'll hear it, and then Sunday we'll be hitting a new episode. So anyway, getting into the franchise tag. So I just briefly wanted to go over just what the hell is the franchise tag and how does it work? Because it gets thrown around a lot. Not a lot of people know how it goes. I'm not going to bore you with the intense details, but basically the franchise tag, teams can use it once per season on one player, and that guarantees the player a 1-year deal at the salary of the top 5 at their specific position over the past 5 years. So that number is averaged out. They get that number for the next year, and they're exclusive to the team that gave them the franchise tag. That's most franchise tags, is the exclusive tag. And the way that works is Team X offers a player a contract. That player can either accept that franchise tag or decline it. If he declines it, he doesn't play that season. That's it. Those are his 2 choices. A non-exclusive franchise tag, the player is allowed to go around and find deals from other teams, but then he has to bring that deal back to his team, and they get the opportunity to match. If they don't match, if they decide they don't want to pay whatever contract he got, that team is entitled to up to 2 first-round picks for that player. So that's how exclusive franchise tags work. So another thing you'll hear about is the transition tag. Little bit different. It takes the top 10 salaries over the last 5 years, and the team is allowed to match whatever offer the player goes out and gets, but they're not entitled to compensation if they decline the offer. So if you have one of these transition tag players, it doesn't happen very often, so it's probably something you're going to hear more about than actually see. But that's kind of how that works. And then the one last thing, just before we get into this, is restricted free agents, which are a bit different than like transition tags and franchise tags. So a restricted free agent basically has a round tender on them. So if they were drafted in the fourth round, they have a fourth round tender on them. And so if a team decides to sign them and the team decides to not match whatever offer they got from the other team, then they're entitled to whatever round tender they have. So that player would grant them a fourth round pick coming back. Does that all make sense? Are we clear on kind of how that works? It's a lot of just paperwork, like, but it's interesting and at least kind of knowing the framework of it.
Yeah, it's like a desperation move, You're like, we couldn't work out this, but I'm locking you in the house. So good luck.
It's pretty beneficial for the teams and not hyper beneficial for the players.
Yeah, well, I mean, they get top 5 money, but so just a little history recap. I'm gonna go through. There were 8 tags issued last year, 2022 season, and that was safety Jesse Bates with Cincinnati, David Njoku, the Browns, Dalton Schultz, Cowboys, Devontae Adams with the Packers, which led to tag and trade situation. Then you had Cam Robinson, tackle for the Jaguars. The Chiefs did Orlando Brown. Mike Gesicki got it from the Dolphins, and then Chris Godwin from the Buccaneers. So one thing to note is if any of these guys get tagged again, they get at least a 20% increase off of their last year's tag value if this year's tag value isn't at least 20% more. So that's kind of an interesting thing. But I don't know. You want to give us a quick rundown of the tag values?
Yeah, we can do that. So I'm going to hit the skill position fantasy guys in more detail, but just to give you a kind of a framework, your highest paid linebackers, defensive ends, defensive tackle, and offensive linemen, and cornerbacks, those guys are all between $18 and $20 million. So they're all right behind quarterback. So that's kind of what you're thinking. Basically, a franchise tag, think around $20 million you're paying for whatever player it is. For a quarterback, it's going to be almost 32.5 million this season. For a wide receiver, it's about 20 million, but 19.7 million. For the running backs, it's all the way down at 10 million. And then for the tight ends, it's a little bit more than that at 11.3 million. So that's why it seems like there's not always a guy that makes sense at that value. Like for instance, we're going to get into it, but wide receivers, there's not a ton of free agents this year that would be worth like $19 million. Whereas Dan said it earlier, I don't know if we were recording, but like you kind of get better turn back. I'll just let you say it. For the tight ends of the running backs, I just butchered your words. It was you anyway. But
that's all good. Now we'll get into it as we go through some of the potential candidates, but yeah, if you're looking at market value for a high caliber tight end or running back, like that's pushing 14, 15 million, and if you're looking at 11 or 10 million in that situation, you're wasting money by not franchise tagging a guy, especially running backs who you never know the longevity of their career anyway. It's something we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of funny, the wide receivers. If you look at last year, like Devontae Adams and Chris Godwin, like those guys are stellar wide receivers. And then we're limping in this year with, you got like, Jacoby Myers, great. Juju, Alan Lazard. But like none of these guys are on that level. None of these guys are going to be making that $19 million or even close to it. So you're not going to hear about any wide receivers tonight, So if that's why you're here, I hate to disappoint you, but we got some pretty spicy tight ends that could foot the workload of a wide receiver. So let's just get into some of these skill position guys that you think we could probably look at tagging. You want to start with quarterbacks just because that's like the sexy thing this offseason?
Yeah, it makes sense to start there. I think there's only 2 guys that I think are likely to get tagged. I guess 3. I don't know. What are you thinking? Is that kind of what you had?
Yeah, I've up to 4, but there are 2 realistic. But so yeah, I guess I'll talk about the number 3 and number 4 guys kind of at the end as a joke.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'll start. So the obvious one is Lamar Jackson, which I know we're going to talk about. But I want to talk about Daniel Jones a little bit.
Okay.
I just think they have an interesting situation there because they have two players who they really want to keep, Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. And it's kind of like who do you tag, who do you sign? Logically, if you use the money game, Dan's right. You should tag Barkley. He's going to be less than what he'd be making. But I don't think that's how they do it. I feel doing a little bit of research before this, trying to like gauge this. Seems like they've been working on an extension with Barkley already for a really long time. It seems like they want to get that done. And I think they just want to solidify one of these guys before Tuesday. And if they've already been doing all that work on Barkley, that one makes the more sense to me to get done. He's their superstar. He's their glue guy that even the fans love. So like just get that one done and then tag Daniel Jones because let's be honest, this is still Daniel Jones' first truly like good season. So to me, it makes more sense. You tag Daniel Jones. Yeah, it's 30 million. That's not that much for a quarterback. And then you see what Daniel Jones got next year and start working on that extension as well.
Interesting. So Daniel Jones was like one of my joke guys, so I'm glad
Oh,
that
okay.
I'm glad that you led with him. I guess I kind of agree with you. I just think that Daniel Jones to me, if I were the Giants, which if we're being honest about their situation, they've got plenty. They've got like the fourth most cap space in the NFL,
hmm
so they can really play around and do whatever they want. But to me, Daniel Jones market value is probably a lot less than 32 million a year.
Mm.
So for me, I save the 5 million you would if you tag Barkley and then try to get like a 2 year deal at a lower value than the
Mm.
franchise tag value for Daniel Jones because we're not sold on Daniel Jones, right?
That's true.
So you don't want to give
Yeah.
him a 4 year, 5 year deal. Give him a 2 year deal, $52 million or whatever,
hmm
and then you can figure it out. And if you really were wrong and he's your franchise guy, then you can just pay him. Just pay him
Yeah.
in 2 years, no big deal. But if they already got the groundwork in on Saquon, I mean that's obviously you can't do better than that. So
Yeah, and I mean both ways are logical. It won't surprise me either way. And I mean the other thing is though, you got to think about Daniel Jones' mentality.
sure,
Maybe he feels like he can do better and get a better paycheck, so he doesn't want to sign a 2 year, $52 million deal. He'd rather play on the tag. You never
huh?
know. Kirk Cousins did it twice. Got himself fully guaranteed by Minnesota Vikings over there by doing
Yeah.
that shit. So maybe he's gonna fall. I'm not saying that that's likely. Obviously, I have no idea. But
Yeah. Hey man, I mean
sorry,
that
AJ.
franchise they went from zero to hero this year, and he was a big part of
Yeah,
it. You know, he'd
yeah.
always
So
been able to be a kind of a dual threat sleeper,
mhm.
and
Yeah, always
downfield pretty
sneaky.
good. So,
Yeah,
maybe they just need the coach of the year in there to make it all happen. So,
maybe. I mean, yeah, they're to me the Giant. That's why I wanted to start there. They're the most interesting because both those players I think will be there, and they just got to figure out how to make that happen.
well, speaking of a player that will be there, and a team that in the Ravens has about 25 million cap space right now, Lamar Jackson seems like
Mhm.
a no-brainer. I don't think he's going to be happy about a tag, but I also
Mhm.
don't know realistically if a long-term deal gets done. I mean, I honestly I don't understand what happens in these negotiations because it's like all the money in the world, and they're like, I would like all the money in the like all the way from the asteroid belt to Venus. Like I need more than just this world's money. And so there's no way the Ravens would just be like, no, have
Yeah.
fun as a free agent. That would be crazy. So that just has to happen.
No, I'm 100% with you. Like Lamar may not even be a Raven next year, but I don't think it's going to be through him being a free agent.
Right.
Like it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, like you said, you brought it up with Green Bay and Davante Adams last year.
Hmm.
That contract situation fell through. They knew they weren't going to get it done. They didn't just let him walk. They tagged him and traded him. If you're gonna get rid of Lamar Jackson, if you really don't want to work on a long term deal with him, it makes zero sense not to tag him and then trade him because you could get a king's ransom for him.
Right.
So, and also probably don't let an former MVP leave in the prime of his career, regardless. But like, if you're gonna do it, at least get value out of it.
That's right. And make sure he poops before the game. You know what I mean? It's important stuff. But, I could see him tagging, trading him to Seattle or something. But,
Ooh,
Seattle's got their own stuff going on. They've got a
they
bunch of
do.
cap, plenty of cap. But they also have Geno Smith,
You know.
a potential tag candidate?
Yeah, so
Question mark.
he was my third guy.
Okay.
It's just interesting because, like I said, dig in before this episode and just type in Geno Smith on Google and search news, and every article about him is different.
Sure.
It's oh he said his contract situation's looking good. The GM said they want to sign him, but then also there's leaked rumors that the Seahawks are really impressed with Drew Lock's development, which the only people that could be
No.
putting that out are the Seahawks. Like, why? That has to be a negotiation tactic. What would be the point of that? Like,
Well, and Drew Lock's an unrestricted free agent too. So,
so like so this one's just weird because it seems like Gino wants to be there. Pete Carroll he's all about his guys. So you
mhm.
would think that you'd think this would work, but it just I don't know. It just seems up in the air. I don't know. I feel like if he doesn't get signed to a deal, he's not staying in Seattle. I
Y-
don't know why. That's just my feeling. Like he's either going to sign a long term or 2 to 3 year deal, or he's going to go somewhere else. And I don't know why. I don't have a lot to base that off. It's just kind of a feeling.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where Indianapolis got really lucky because they're the fourth pick, whereas
Hmm.
Seahawks are fifth. And if it were
Yeah,
reversed, I don't think we'd be talking about Geno at all.
yeah.
They'd be going after a quarterback in the draft. But and I won't talk about Geno for very much longer. But on the Spo track, I always check that out. They have him
Hmm.
at like a $39 million value, and Daniel Jones is 26 million, and Lamar Jackson is like 43 million. So like you're
Hmm.
telling me that Geno's with like 90% value of Lamar
Lamar?
Jackson?
No.
That doesn't this just so nothing like you're saying, nothing about the Geno thing makes sense. And then so my last joke one was like, hey, the 49ers could tag Jimmy Garoppolo,
Oh,
right? Because there's going to be 50% quarterbacks on that roster just so they can make it through the postseason.
yeah. They just need
But
8 at this point.
I mean, Brock Purdy won't be back till October, so we're going to need Jimmy, and who knows, Trey Lance will be there just in case. I'm like,
What
no,
what
it's
they
a
ought to
nightmare.
do is do what Tom Brady gets signed by Fox or CBS. Which one signed him? Doesn't matter. Whichever TV company signed him to a futures deal, that's what the 49ers signed Tom Brady to a futures deal. If their third string quarterback gets hurt in the NFC Championship game again, he can come play. He'll come back and he'll play. That's what they should do.
I love that. I love that. Well, we've already touched pretty hard on the running back, so we'll just go into that. I think we're pretty good on
Yeah.
the Saquon talk, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. How do you feel about
So
Josh Jacobs?
I think he gets tagged.
Yeah.
I don't really see much of a reason not to. Unfortunately for him, he could get a monster payday. But yeah, if he doesn't re-sign with the Raiders, I think he gets tagged.
Yeah, the Raiders got quite a bit of cap space as
Hmm.
well, so maybe they just work something out because
Yeah,
why wouldn't you want him for another 4 years or whatever?
yeah.
So
Hopefully that's what happens for him.
I'm with you on that. The next one, I've got a weird one that's not really a popular topic, but David Montgomery,
Mm,
he's probably going to get like 7 million somewhere.
yeah.
If I was Chicago and they don't have a ton of draft capital, they traded for Chase Claypool. That was their
Hmm.
second, and whatever else happened. Why not just pay David Montgomery, like overpay him a little bit for 1 year
Hmm.
of stability? I think that
I
that would be smart, but I don't know if they do it because they have a lot of cap to do it.
I agree. I think it would be smart. And it may happen, but I feel like it'll be. I don't know that they'll tag him, but with the running back class or the free agent running backs that are coming out I'm curious if the Bears are just going to wait and see like who's going to be available, like who's not going to get tagged, who's going to get cut, and let's see because they do have a ton of money, and then it's one of those things where like okay, none of the running backs we really want to pay a lot of money are out there, like let's just sign Montgomery back, and he'll be like one of those like free agency day 3 signings. But it wouldn't shock me if they did it. I mean, yeah, what's $10 million more dollars or $3 million more dollars than his market value just to keep him around? And he's one of the few veteran presences you have left on that team, you know? So
roster.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
But I'm with you. I had another running back. I don't know if you do. I want to talk about Tony Pollard.
Go for it.
This one is weird, but I actually think it makes a ton of sense to tag Pollard. He was absolutely electric this year, and to me, it's different than like, oh, he's just a runner. He did a lot for them. He did a lot in the passing game. He opened up their offense quite a bit, and I think it makes sense for both sides. Unfortunately, obviously, Tony Pollard broke his leg in the NFC divisional round, and he's going to have surgery. So, like, that's already hurting his market value. Like, people are not going to be as interested in him until they know his health. I don't know. Take a $10 million tag, stay in Dallas, show you can do it again, and then get your huge deal the year after that. So, Dallas doesn't have a ton of money. And there's another player that they could tag, but he would be more expensive, and that's why I think Tony Pollard makes a little more sense. But I don't know. I don't know that this one will happen, but it made sense to me. I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, it seems like a stretch to me because I would prioritize that other guy, Dalton Schultz, with the tight end tag,
Gotcha.
double tagging him. I just think that Tony Pollard not necessarily worth $10 million, and I feel like I'm still on this Bijan Robinson getting drafted by the Cowboys thing because however you want to look at it, Zeke's done after this year, regardless, right? Like they need to find a serviceable replacement, and I'm sure Pollard could be that guy, but like, you know, they could like making sexy moves. So if you get Bijan and then tag Dalton Schultz and, you know, obviously you got CD Lamb, it kind of like your team's kind of smoking, you know?
Yeah.
Just go for it. That's my thing is I think money's tight and Dalton Schultz is the guy. So
See, I actually think they're comfortable with Jake Ferguson.
sure.
I don't know. I just think like 13 million for a tight end when you don't have a ton of money, but I'm saying pay 10 to a running back when you already have Zeke. But my gut and all logic says they either cut Zeke or restructure the fuck out of that contract. So there's a bunch of money there. But I'm with you. It's not going to surprise me if they do Schultz. I just feel like they probably let Schultz walk and ride with Ferguson or draft another tight end because I think they need receiver help. You know, that could be a focus. But I guess then, to your point, it'd be nice to have a good tight end. And you could just look for a receiver. So, yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. But, that was the guy I was talking about with Tony Pollard. It's Dalton Schultz is who might screw that up. But I think both make sense, and they're relatively close.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a coin flip. I just don't, like you're saying, I don't think they sink that much money into the running back room. But if they can get something with Zeke going, then good for them. Good for everyone, really. But then kind of staying in the tight end room, and kind of the last guy I had on this list is Evan Engram.
Mm-hmm. Same.
So feels like a slight overpay, but I feel like he was a kind of a magical piece of that playoff run, and well, you don't mess that up to save whatever amount of money.
Yeah. See, to me, the only reason this one doesn't get done or he doesn't get tagged is because I think they just work on a deal. Like, I think they just sign him. He's already expressed interest in staying. They already said they want him back. I think they just got to agree on the numbers, and I think they will. So But he is a tag candidate. Like if they don't figure out a deal, I do think he gets tagged.
Yeah. And like we've been saying, this all kicks off next Tuesday, which if you're listening to this from space, that is February 21st. And it runs through March 7th. So we're sure to get some excitement. As we recapped, last year there were 5 skill position players to get tagged, 2 of which were wide receivers. So it's a bit different this year around. But it's going to be exciting, something to keep an eye on. But another thing, and this deadline's a little further out there, we're just going to quickly go through. May 1st is the 5th-year option deadline for players from the 2020 draft.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna rapid fire, and I just want you to get like yes or no.
Okay.
And we can debate if there is any debate. But first up, Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Obviously. Okay.
Unless he just signs an extension, but yeah.
Right, which is most likely going to happen.
Yeah.
You got Tua.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Justin Herbert. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Jerry Jeudy.
Yes.
Okay. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
Yep. Jalen Reagor. Okay.
I don't even think they can.
No. And then you've got Justin Jefferson.
Probably gets a deal done, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'd say he has to get a deal done, that's for sure. Brandon Ayuk. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I lean no. I think he had a strong year this year that might play into his favor, but I'll say no. I'll say no as well.
And then last up is Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Definitely not.
So, yeah, that's a big swing and a miss.
Yeah.
There are some cool names like Chase Young's probably definitely going to get his.
You'd think.
Probably, yeah. There's a few guys. Tristan Wirfs for sure. There's a couple of good guys in there. Jordan Love, no, probably not, right? Yeah,
I don't know.
How did he not make the skill position list? That's my bad. Jordan Love.
Yes, I think it does get picked up.
Okay, cool. So that's something to keep an eye on. This is kind of a spicier draft than most. Yeah, especially there was a ton of really talented offensive tackles in there. So yeah, including
it was a good draft. It was fun.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the tag situation, everybody, and preview to the 5th-year option. Just a couple of random franchise decision-making deadlines coming up in the offseason. Pre-draft, so, or post-draft, I don't know, pre and post-draft. So that's just kind of fun. We're definitely going to dig into the free agents that are available a little more in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, did we miss anything?
No, I mean, unless we want to preview Sunday's episode, or at least let them know we're going to be doing our wide receiver profiles with Dan on Sunday. So pretty excited for that.
Hell yeah. I mean, the off season is our on season, and rookie prospecting, dude, we've got gold fever when it comes to most fun. Yeah. A lot back in the day, back in 1849, California, gold rushing prospectors. That's modern day. That's us right now. We gold rush prospecting. So if we wear the same shirts, though, it's just because we like what we're wearing. So don't worry about that.
I just have 5 of the same shirt.
Yeah, I actually planned a wardrobe change, but just in case no one else did, I'm just going to cover our tracks. But
I definitely can.
Hey, man.
My closet's right there.
Hey, I travel with extra baggage always. Yeah, getting into rookie wide receivers, some baggage is headed our way.
Let's go.
We'll see you later, Sage Surratt, Cade Johnson. See you on the flip side.
Peace.
See ya.